our first full year of, managing short-term rentals, we did $1 million in revenue. Now,
Woo!
yeah, we take a percentage cut on that. So we're not
Sure.
millionaires yet,
Right.
but that's crazy to do that much revenue in just 1 year being brand new. I probably spend about maybe 15 to 20 hours a week. It's nice having an additional, six-figure income coming in with my current job. So
Absolutely.
I think the easiest way to get in this, get out there and start learning it, is to sign a lease and do rental arbitrage. You're going to learn so much, and you can't learn everything up front. You're going to get stuck in analysis paralysis. You have to just get a unit, start managing it, start getting guests coming through the property, start getting all these questions coming in from guests, learn it from, firsthand experience.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the VIP Financial Education YouTube video. We help you go further, faster financially. And we do that by really trying to pull back different layers on both sides of the balance sheet. How do we attack our debts and reduce our expenses without necessarily compromising our lifestyle, while simultaneously growing our income and our assets, so that we can see that cash flow stacking result? If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Today, I've got a really special guest on with me today. Wilson, what's your last name, my friend?
My last name is Van Hook.
Van Hook, cool. So Wilson Van Hook is actually a current participant in the STR, which stands for Short-Term Rental Wealth Academy, with Michael and Katrina Stead. They're longtime friends of the channel now. We've been featuring their program now for a total of over 3 years. And one thing we've always liked to do on this channel is continually update as a program evolves, bring in participants in order to show you guys what you might expect if you were to consider participating yourself. And Wilson is one of those participants. Wilson, I literally know nothing about. I told him when he jumped on the Zoom call today that I have absolutely no back information about him. I like these videos to be as authentic as they can be. And one thing I can tell you about this program is it is very unique, and the industry as a whole is flooded with headlines right now. Right, we're hearing all about Airbnb bust, and I've had a terrific experience as a host renting my short-term rental. It's generated roughly $250,000 for me in just the last 4 seasons, and I still get to enjoy and use the home for 7 or 8 months of each year. And their model is different than going out and actually buying houses, where it requires a lot of down payment money. It requires a lot of costs to furnish and decorate and include amenities and just get started. And so it often is difficult to scale. You might be able to get 1 or 2 or even a few properties if you have deep enough pockets, but most people just don't have the liquidity to keep building up a big portfolio of properties that they own. And so I discovered Michael and Katrina's program several years ago through a post on one of the short-term rental community pages in Facebook. And it blew me away what they had accomplished in just 1 year's time. At that point, we were very similar in our background of short-term hosting, and they had blown me out of the water. And it cost me a fortune to get my short-term rental off the ground. Well over $200,000 when you add the down payment to the cost of the furnishings. So I really began to explore it. And I've brought on now a lot of their participants over the last 3 years. So I'm excited to find out Wilson's story. Wilson, thank you for coming on with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so give it a little bit of a backstory, kind of how I got started with this journey myself. We had straight out of college, my wife and I, we bought a couple of houses in Florida. We moved from Oklahoma to Florida, lived out there for a couple of years, and we wanted to start getting involved in real estate investing. So we had 2 long-term rentals in Florida, and with the boom in the market, in the post-COVID era, we had instantly gained a lot of equity in those homes. So I had been educating myself on short-term rentals, and I knew that I could make more money with a short-term rental as opposed to long-term rental. So what we did was we sold both of those homes and took the equity that we got from those homes, and we rolled that into our first vacation rental in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Our first investment was going really well. And so I guess our story is actually kind of similar to you, where that took a lot of money. That took a lot of money, a big down payment on a property, 20% down on a $500,000+ home. And we were only maybe 2 months into that rental, and our numbers were looking fantastic. So our concept was instantly validated, that we knew that this was the right industry. We could make money with this. But then my wheels started turning, and I'm like, how long would it take me to save up another down payment of this size to get another property like this? And so I was thinking, how can I know that I can make money with this business. I want to get creative and figure out other ways that I can make money with this business and scale up my portfolio, without having to wait another 3 years or something like that, working a 9 to 5 job and saving up a down payment. So that's actually how I came across Michael and Katrina's program. I was doing a lot of research, learning about rental arbitrage, learning about partnerships, things like that. And the way that I actually came across them was, I was actually looking at a YouTube video where somebody was interviewing them and talking about their program and what they had to offer. And I had already talked to some other folks that run some, everybody's trying to sell a course nowadays, right? So I'd already talked to some folks that were selling a course on this kind of thing, and talked to them, and it just didn't seem like a good fit. It seemed like kind of a cash grab for their courses and stuff, these other people that I talked to, and it didn't seem like the quality of what they were putting out was going to be very good. But whenever I came across Michael and Katrina, I reached out to them directly, and Michael set up a consultation call with me. We talked for about an hour. He really told me, answered all of my questions in depth about the program. And I could tell that these guys were a lot more genuine and going to spend the time with me that I needed, and not just I could tell that they were invested in my success, as opposed to just trying to get my money and teach me some surface level things. I could really tell that the conversation that I had with Michael was different. And we had a follow-up consultation call together before I joined the program. And, he really dug into, what are my goals? What am I trying to achieve with this business, as opposed to, let's just go out here and get rich, right?
That was my exact first impression of them too. Really down to earth couple, super genuine, really wanted to help. And they were making so much money right after their first year that I knew they weren't desperate to go out and just convert sales in order to generate their primary revenues. It just wasn't their primary source of income. In fact, had a call with them recently, just a couple of days ago. They're on pace to make $5 million this year using the exact model that they teach. And they're only a few years in at this point. They're at 65 units, 65 doors. And before we get into that, let me just throw out an email address so that people, if they chose, could get the same experience that you did and have that initial consultation, because I think that's an important first step. This is not a business model that's right for everybody. You would agree with that?
I 100% agree. And that was one of the things that we talked about up front was, he said, he was letting me know that, this isn't going to work if I'm not committed. We were really focusing on my mentality up front before he didn't even want to bring someone into the program that didn't have the right mentality. So it was a two-way interview there.
That's right. They'll disqualify people. They don't just take someone on because they're willing to pay. And so if anybody is interested in that consultation, you can email strwealth@vipfinancialeducation.com. Make sure you include your first name, last name, and phone number, and somebody from their team will reach out. You guys can schedule a consultation and have a dialogue in case Wilson and I don't answer the very questions that you may have here today. So make sure you write that email address down. I'm only going to give it a couple of times during this video. I'll also put it in the description for you so it's easy to find, along with the playlist from other conversations I've had with other participants and with Michael and Katrina directly, to try and give you a little bit of research you can do ahead of time before you make that phone call. Spend a couple hours digging into this, because I personally think that if I were to lose everything today, this is the exact model that I would start with. And I would just build this business. And I've had, like I said, some great luck with STRs. I did not do it the way they are. So full transparency, even though I am a participant in the program, my time is spent building two other very, very time-consuming businesses. And this just requires a lot of work, which I want to talk about with you today. So unless you're willing and able to put in the work, which can be as little as 10, 15, 20 hours a week. I've talked about that with other participants before. The more you put in, the more you'll get out. Some people just don't have the availability of time, and that's understandable. But I think the goal for everybody that comes through my channel is, how do I create that financial freedom so that I can have freedom of choice, where I live the lifestyle I really want? And if most people were given 10, 20, $50 million tomorrow, I know just through interviewing folks for the last couple of decades, almost everybody would quit what they're doing now and do something different. So if you have that ability to actually transition your life into something that you picture as being more of fulfilling to you, this is a roadmap to be able to do that. So you found Michael and Katrina, you reached out, you had your 1 hour coaching session. If you could just break down for people listening that maybe haven't seen any other videos on this business model, how would you describe what it is they're teaching and what you're doing?
Yeah, so like I said, they're teaching concepts that are going to help individuals scale a business without using a lot of money up front, because these down payments take years to save up for to get properties. And when you're looking for that time freedom that you're talking about, you want your own freedom of choice. You can't mentally sit in a 9 to 5 for 10, 20 years putting money into a 401k or saving up down payments for properties. You want to figure out how I can do this in a quicker fashion. And that's really what they teach in the courses, how to do this with little to no money out of pocket to scale up a business. And that they do that through teaching about rental arbitrage and teaching partnerships, which is, as some people may be more familiar with just the term property management. That's what we consider ourselves, as property management. There's different ways to structure it and different things to call it, but I know that they like the term partnerships. But and that's just partnering directly with an owner, and they're the ones that bring the property. You bring the strategy and your expertise to manage the property, and you take a percentage of the profits. And rental arbitrage, you go out and sign a lease somewhere, for people that aren't familiar, and now you're guaranteeing income for that homeowner every month, and you will get to keep any extra profits that you make renting out this property as a short-term rental on sites like Airbnb, VRBO.
Exactly. And the biggest differential that I've observed, being arbitrage usually requires, as a more standard tenant relationship with the homeowner, I'm responsible, of course, for furnishing that property. I usually have to come up with the first month, last month security deposit. So it's a little bit more heavy on the capital side initially. Partnerships, oftentimes the homeowner covers the furnishings and decor, and I don't have that responsibility of a first month, last month, and security deposit. It's really just a profit sharing. We're teaming up on the project. They're supplying the property, and it's furnished and ready to go. I'm teaming up with the management side, and I'm taking care of future, present, and past guests, right? I'm covering the cleaning. I'm basically in control of the day-to-day operations, and they get to sit back and essentially benefit passively from that investment. Is that a clear understanding?
Exactly. And that's why I say it's little to no money down, because when you're doing partnerships, it's no money out of your pocket. Like you said, the owners are the ones furnishing the property, and they're delivering you a product that you can go market. When you do rental arbitrage, I would say it's little money out of pocket. You will have to put down potentially a deposit on a property, first month's rent, things like that, and furnish the property. There are some ways to structure rental arbitrage where you can do it for even less money down, where maybe you talk to the owner and get them to waive the deposit. Or one strategy that we did that was really cool, the owner actually agreed to furnish the property. So we said, hey, we'll sign an extended lease with you for 2 years. If you furnish the property, give us an allowance, say $15,000 to go furnish the property. We'll bring in our expertise. We'll design the property from the ground up. We'll furnish it and do everything for you. And then we'll just pay you an extra $500 of rent every single month. And then it's kind of a win-win, right? It's like we didn't have to spend $15,000 out of pocket. And now owner they've got a premium rental for forever. They've got a fully furnished property.
Yeah, I love that. So why would a homeowner even want to do this? Because I know that's one of the biggest objections somebody that's typically used to long-term landlording is going to present, right? Is why would I want somebody marching all of this foot traffic through my house? And it seems pretty obvious to me at this point why a homeowner should prefer to work with somebody like you versus working with a long-term tenant. What would be your reasoning behind it?
Yeah, and you know, this is something that Michael and Katrina teach in the course. There's a lot of content on it that they really dive into to learn how to handle those objections that you can get on the phone when you're talking to homeowners initially. I remember I was doing practice calls with my wife in my bedroom, and I was like, hey, just throw me a bunch of objections on the phone, and I'll just sit here and try to practice it and figure out how I can navigate through those so I can come up with my answers and clean that up. But you know, the benefits really that we bring is, yeah, we're a professional, right? The property has to be in pristine condition at all times because we're renting this out to other people that are going to stay here. I mean, there's hundreds of people that are going to come through this property throughout the year. We have to keep this property pristine. We're going to bring in our professional cleaning team. It's going to get a professional cleaning every few days. I mean, at any point you can inspect this property and it's going to be in pristine condition. And some of the objections that homeowners give is, well, I've heard all these things about people on Airbnb are going to throw parties, they're going to tear up the property. Well, there are bad tenants that can come through Airbnb, but there's ways to vet these people and avoid those things, you know, and you can take the security deposits, things like this. And these are all things that you can tell the homeowners, like, hey, we take a security deposit from every guest. But another point is that long-term tenants tear up properties. Okay.
They have parties. You ever had a party at your house?
Pretend.
I've had parties at my house. Right.
Yeah. Let's not pretend that if you have someone go rent that house from you for a year, that you're not going to come to that property after a year and have to replace all the carpets and there's holes in the wall and there's just all kinds of stuff that can go wrong, right? Well, I'm guaranteeing you your rental income every month, and I'm the professional, right? I'm going to make sure this property is always in good condition. So those are some of the key benefits, in my opinion, as to why it's
well. And one other one that I've observed too over the last few years, because I'm a long-term landlord too, wear and tear on appliances is way less. A lot of these short-term rental guests don't even eat at home. They're not using the stove and the oven as frequently. Sure, the microwave, sure, the coffee maker, maybe the toaster oven, but I'm not seeing nearly the wear and tear on the refrigerator. Even the dishwasher gets a lot less wear and tear through my short-term rental versus my long-term, because it's not receiving that consistent, permanent daily use that a long-term tenant is obviously going to be putting on those things. Washer and dryer, sure, they get used quite a bit too. I'm not sure how much of a difference is there, but probably at least some. And so, yeah, I think all the way around, your property has a much better chance of being well taken care of. And so you're seeing this in the program is exactly how to overcome these objections. They're providing you the exact roadmap to follow. I talked to a couple shortly before you, Taras and Oksana, who are about to break their first $1 million year just 3 years in with Michael and Katrina's program as well. They're up to mid-20s properties. I think they're at somewhere between, I think 26 properties total, they said. But it's just phenomenal to me to see that people can work this along with a full-time job. What were you doing before this then?
So my background is in software development, and I actually still work my job as a software developer. Wow. Yeah, I do. And so that's actually kind of another good point is that I still do this, you know, quote unquote, on the side. Like I have this whole business going and I still work a 9-to-5 job. I work remotely as a software developer, and it really helps me, you know, with building this business on the side. But
so is that a 40-hour full-time job for you?
That's correct. Yeah, it's a 40-hour full-time job. Yeah, and the goal, of course, is to quit that job. We've just got some other goals in mind where, you know, it's nice having an additional, you know, 6-figure income coming in with my current job. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're getting.
And how many units do you have now with STR Wealth Academy? How many properties have you set up in your portfolio?
We have a total of 26 properties in our portfolio.
Wow, same exact number as them. That's incredible. So what did your revenues for 2023 end up as? Top line revenues.
Yeah, we joined the SCR Wealth Academy in around September, October of 2022. So we had a
Okay.
couple of months to kind of learn the process a little bit, and then 2023, like, we just really hit the ground running, right? We added a lot of clients, added a lot of properties. Entering 2023, we had, I believe, 4 listings, and then scale it up to, at the end of 2023, 26 properties.
Unbelievable.
And we did our first full year of managing short-term rentals. We did $1 million in revenue. Now, yeah, we take a percentage cut on that, so we're not millionaires yet,
Right.
but that's crazy to do that much revenue in just 1 year, being brand new, starting out the year with only 4 properties. And for
Absolutely. And the profit margins are actually very high because you're only paying a small amount towards team members to delegate. You're talking cleaning services. You're obviously talking some maintenance along the way, perhaps. Maybe there's some replacement of furniture or some repairs that need to be made. But ultimately, the margins compared to other businesses is extraordinary. So I'm guessing you're going to come out very, very well in 2023. What do you anticipate 2024 will result in for you?
Yeah, we've got out of our 26 listings, 2 of those properties we own. 2 of those were rental arbitrage units, and the rest were all partnerships. We decided
Wow.
we geared our business towards partnerships because we realized it's $0 to get into these properties. And you hit the nail on the head with our expenses. Our overhead is super, super low. We have to pay for some software tools and things like that. But the reason why I say that is because the partnerships, when you mention things like maintenance and stuff, we don't pay for any of that. The owner pays for it. We put it on their statement every month. If they had
I love
maintenance,
that.
right? So whenever I say we did $1 million in revenue, when we take our management fee on that, yeah, you're exactly right. Most of that money comes back to us. 2024, we're onboarding right now another 4 properties, and it's a snowball effect. We're going to keep adding more properties, more and more referrals from our happy owners, things like that. I would envision by the end of 2024, we probably will have 60 listings at least. And
unbelievable.
Yeah, and from a revenue perspective, I would expect us to at least double what we did in 2023.
That's incredible. Good for you. Should feel very proud of that. So how much longer are you going to work your job?
I don't know. The goal is to quit my job this year, 2024. So
good.
I'm ready to quit. I think that whenever March rolls around and we get spring breaks, I think that's going to be one of the first times that I get a really, really, big, tasty check. And, we've had some good checks, and it's been going up every single month as we add more properties. But spring break rolls around, summer rolls around this year. We're going to be in a good spot. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to help me quit my job this year.
And how old are you?
I'm 27 right now. Yeah,
wow,
27.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
When I came out of college, I got my degree in computer science, and I started working in this job, and making more than most people make straight out of college because, software jobs pay pretty well. And but very quickly, only a couple years into this corporate job, I decided, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. I can't just sit at this desk till I'm 59 and a half years old and I can draw from my 401k. I was like, I can't do this. So my wheels just always were turning all day long at work. I'm thinking, how can I get out of this? So yeah, I think I've always kind of had that mindset that I'm like that entrepreneur type mindset where I'm like, I got to figure out how to build something for myself and be my own boss.
How many hours would you guess you averaged each week through 2023, your first full year? Working on this, being that it's a side hustle, I'm very curious how you balanced your time.
Yeah. I would say on average, I probably spend about maybe 15 to 20 hours a week. There's a lot of time that I spend when we bring on a new property. There's a lot of work front loaded for that, and we brought on a lot of properties.
Yeah, you did.
Um, yeah, so that can be one of the most time consuming things throughout the week. If any particular week I have to onboard one or two properties, I have to build out a brand new listing, make it really appealing, get the photos done. There's a lot of coordination there. Those weeks can really add up your time. But now the point we're at in our business is, we have hired on a virtual assistant to work for us, and she's handling our guest communications now. And we're learning how to scale a business now where eventually, a couple of years from now, I can step away almost completely, kind of like how Michael and Katrina are, and maybe I can start teaching, or maybe I can move on to the next thing, learn something, right? And I'll have a business here that actually is an asset to me, because it's no longer a job for me. Yeah, I have employees working for me managing this business, and we're kind of starting to, that's kind of a big milestone for our business, hiring someone else for the first time.
Right. Right. Well, obviously, yeah, I mean, getting things systemized to a point where you can essentially control your day-to-day schedule and have a team that's really handling and in charge of most of the responsibilities is a phenomenal accomplishment to get to. Seems to me like you'll be there this year. So when you originally invested in their coaching program, do you remember what it cost you?
Yeah, it cost me, you want like an actual dollar figure?
Yeah.
Yeah, it cost me $10,000 for their program. I don't know exactly what the program costs today.
I know it costs more, but they are still discounting down for our audience to that just under 10,000, call it 10K. It's like 999.95 or something, right? So when you first paid for that, did you pay for it using cash or did you use credit?
I did pay for it cash, and I was hesitant. It's no small figure. The way that I looked at it, I had this money because of those properties that I sold in Florida. So I still had a little bit of money from that, and I decided I could keep this money, keep saving it and investing it in my business, or saving it for the next down payment, or invest it in stock market, whatever. But I just spent 4 years getting a degree and spent a lot more than $10,000 on that. One of the best things you can do is spend, if you're having trouble spending money on something, one of the, people have probably heard it before, but one of the best things you can invest in is yourself. So invest in your education, right? And that pays huge dividends. So the amount of knowledge that I gained from the program far exceeded the cost of the program, because now like we're talking $10,000, I made a lot more than $10,000 from my business in 2023. Right. Why does it matter? At that point, it was worth it.
To spend 10 to hit $1 million, good trade.
Yeah.
Right. Good trade. And not everybody's going to hit that level. Not everybody even wants to. How long did it take you before you made your money back?
How long did it take me before I made my money back? Probably made my money back by the first quarter of 2023.
Amazing. So how long did it take you to get your first property underway that you would credit Michael and Katrina's STR Wealth Academy for helping you get? Using their systems, their scripts, following their process, what was the timeline on that?
Absolutely. When I joined the program, I had one property that I owned, and I was trying to scale up that business. And I immediately, about a month into their program, I signed 2 leases simultaneously for units near where I live here in Houston, Texas. I signed a couple of leases only a month into the program, and those were rental arbitrage units. And from there, the rental arbitrage units helped me start getting the partnerships, because I had something in my portfolio to showcase. And I think I recommend that to people too. I think the easiest way to get in this, get out there and start learning it, is to sign a lease and do a rental arbitrage. You're going to learn so much, and you can't learn everything up front. You're going to get stuck in analysis paralysis. You have to just get a unit, start managing it, start getting guests coming through the property, start getting all these questions coming in from guests, learn it from, firsthand experience. But yeah, only a month in, we had added those 2 properties, so pretty quickly.
Woo. Now, well, I know they're promising right now like a 90-day guarantee that you'll get your first property. I believe I
Oh
saw
wow,
that in their
yeah.
community page on Facebook. So they're definitely getting people off the ground quickly. And I
Well,
agree. I mean, if you're,
I was just gonna say I don't want to make it sound easy to get that, because that took me probably 100 different. I had to contact 100 different people, homeowners, to get those first
Mhm,
2 units. It's
mhm.
not glamorous.
Exactly. And I'm glad you point that out, because I think that's going to be one of the biggest sticking points for people listening to this. You really need to internalize whether or not you're the right person for this. It's not a good fit for everybody. And we talked about that when you sign up for the consultation call. Again, strwealth at vipfinancialeducation.com. First name, last name, phone number. We'll get you in touch with them. I believe they have you fill out an intake form where they learn a little more about you. Then you have your call. And it's, again, not a sales pitch. They're essentially trying to qualify you. And if you're not a fit, then essentially they're going to say this isn't right for you, at least not right now. You know, people that don't want to pick up the phone are probably not going to be a good fit. What I've seen as a common theme, having many of these conversations with folks that have participated like you, is there ends up being this like strong momentum that develops. It's almost like getting a steam engine off and running. It's very slow to start. You're going to have a lot of challenges, but over time, the business starts to sell itself. My business did the same thing. You know, my coaching services, you know, going out there and presenting that somebody might benefit from what you have to offer when you don't have results to back it up is a tough thing to sell. When you have a portfolio already in hand, it becomes almost a pitch deck that you can use for new homeowners, that when you have a conversation, and you can say a lot less. You just hand over the results. Look at what this homeowner's made working with me. Look at what that homeowner's made working with me. And you show the 5-star reviews, you build this reputation, and the brand does a lot of the hard work. Have you found that to be true with your business as well?
Absolutely, yeah. And now it's easier than ever. And I still get on the phones today. I contacted a homeowner in our market, Broken Bow, Oklahoma, is where we have most of our properties. And
Okay.
I contacted a homeowner the other day. I was doing some prospecting online, trying to find some big properties to manage. I'm talking about properties that'll do over $150,000 in revenue by themselves. And I was trying to target these properties because I knew that it takes about the same amount of management to manage big properties as it does
Sure.
small ones. Sometimes it takes
True.
less, but clientele. And so I got on the phone with this guy, and I just got straight to the point with him. And I said, "Hey, I got a property I'm managing right around the corner from you. For 2023, this property did 160K in revenue. Your property is potentially nicer because it's bigger. You're offering the same kind of amenities. How's your performance been?" And he's like, we didn't hit our goals. He's like, we only did like $100,000 in revenue this year. And I'm like, hey, come talk to us, right? So it is a lot easier. I can go tell somebody now, hey, based on our past performance, look at what we've got. Go look at our website. Go look at all the properties we manage. I can give them a referral to another homeowner and say, hey, and he actually talked to that guy. I gave him that guy's phone number. He went and talked to that other homeowner, and homeowner closed him for me. And that's the best feeling whenever you got homeowners closing deals for you.
Absolutely. And on that note, a lot of these folks are probably sending you referrals too, which makes it
Yeah.
even easier because you have hot leads handed your way, people who have already built you up, said everything promising, and if they're still wanting a conversation, obviously their objections are going to be far reduced at that stage. So you just have to come in and do it, you know, at least have a good connection and have some sort of a rapport and chemistry for them to feel comfortable working with you. But they're already a yes coming into that conversation in most cases.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's exactly
Wow.
right.
Well, that's awesome. So, I always feel so stupid asking this question at the end of each of these calls, but is it safe to say that you would recommend this program for somebody that's looking to try and start a side hustle?
We've kind of talked about it a little bit already, but I would recommend it for the right person, for a person that's going into it with the right mindset. And I'll be honest. While I was going through the program, I've seen some people that um, aren't very dedicated to the program. They come to the weekly calls and they're like, oh, I didn't do anything this week. I didn't make any progress. I didn't call any homeowners. I got busy, or I didn't, I just was feeling a little bit defeated, right? And everything's so negative, right? And for that kind of person, they're not going to get their money's worth. But I absolutely recommend the program for somebody that's going to spend the time, it's going to be in the right mentality, has the right goals in mind about reaching financial freedom or whatever their goals are, time freedom, whatever it may be. The program's a great fit for that person because you can go out and you can watch YouTube videos all day long. You can try to self-educate on these things, but having a mentorship, it really propels you. Yet you're investing this money into this program, but it's actually saving you money, and it's saving you, your time and all these other things that have a value of their own. So I absolutely recommend the program. I think it's very easy. The course content is very easy to follow, and it's very helpful having the mentorship.
Well, I mean, for almost everybody on here who's paid the tuition for School of Hard Knocks, as you're saying, when you deal with the mistakes and you want to try and stumble and fumble your way through self-educating and just figuring it out as you go, there are very few things that are more expensive. I'm not saying it hasn't been worth it the times I've done it, but I've learned over the years in business that the more shortcuts that I can invest in, the more ROI I end up seeing on that investment. And so you're right. I think it ends up saving you a tremendous amount of money by spending money to get the blueprint, and have people who are succeeding in it that have genuinely your best interests in mind there beside you to hold you accountable, to show you the right way of doing it, to help you avoid some of the missteps that they've had in the past. You get to where you want to end up, or where people say they want to end up, so much more quickly. It's just so slow trying to do it yourself. Michael and Katrina did it themselves. I talk about that all the time. They didn't have a coach. They did it. Yeah. But if they had had a coach, imagine how much further along they'd be today than they are now. So I think that's an excellent point you made. Well, listen, Wilson, I really appreciate your time. Do you have anything else you want to add to anybody listening that's thinking about maybe checking this out?
No, not really. I mean, if you're thinking about it, it can't hurt to schedule the consultation call. It costs nothing to talk to the folks at the Short-Term Rental Academy. Just give them a call, talk to them, see if it's a good fit. Like I said, it's a two-way interview. They're qualifying you, you're qualifying them, and if it's a good fit, it's gonna pay off, right? It's gonna pay you big dividends. So I'd say, schedule the consultation call if you're thinking about it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Just take that first step. It doesn't hurt. There's no investment, no cost, no obligation, and no hard sale, no pressure. And I love that about them too, is they're not there twisting people's arms. So again, thank you so much for your time and being transparent with us. I know it takes a lot to come on video and open up about your story and specifics about your money too. It's all often very private information. So I do want to thank you. I'm sure that you've helped people who are on the fence about something like this, or thinking about getting started with a new business as we kick off the new year. But there's no better time than now. And I don't think this industry is going away. The key is realizing that the traditional way of doing it maybe doesn't work as well as it did before. But if you can reduce your risks by looking at something like this, where you don't have all the money on the line and you're not stuck with a 30-year mortgage and you're not responsible for all the maintenance, I think that the risk reward factor on this is better than any other business model that I've seen before. But it is going to take hours of your day, and it is going to take time every week, week in and week out, for you to succeed with it. So knowing that going in and being committed to putting in the work can certainly lead to a period where you can transition to any type of life you want. And you can run this business virtually too. I know through our past conversations with many folks, and my own experience too, I've run my short-term rental businesses from many states away for multiple years in a row. And it's worked out just fine as long as you build it the way that you're taught in the program and you've got a good team. It's absolutely doable. So Wilson, again, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. working multiple careers at the moment. Not for long, I hope, but I would love to check in with you in a year and see how everything's going for you and see how you've grown if you're open to it. But in the meantime, sounds like you got a busy one ahead of you. It's going to be an awesome year.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Thank you. Yeah, we should definitely keep tabs, check in like a year, do another call, and we'll just see how much bigger the business has grown.
That would be awesome. I'd really appreciate that too. Thank you so much, Wilson. So yeah, until we see you next time, man, make it a great day today. Guys, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. We're going to try and provide you as many resources as possible for you to succeed as well, to have your first $1 million year and potentially transition into a completely different lifestyle that you could have only imagined before. Yeah, with that, if you want an email back from Short-Term Rental Wealth Academy, be sure to email strwealth@vipfinancialeducation.com. First name, last name, phone number. Michael and Katrina and their team will be in touch with you, and you guys can explore this for yourselves. So until we see you on the next one, make it a great day and keep on cash flowing. Take care.